Okay, what's good? What's good? It's good to see you guys again. This is BRYT. Um, this is my basically part two of still an intro, which I titled as Preen Theory. Preen Awareness. Um, so you guys are finally getting like the true proper introduction that you guys deserve. And this will pretty much delve deeper into the stuff that I was talking about in my previous video. I'm extremely excited to show you guys just all about this and what it consists of. And yeah, we're gonna get straight into it. I just want to appreciate everyone that is watching this, and I want to say I love everyone that is watching this. And yeah, thank you. So a lot of you guys have been asking me and will be asking me, Preen Theory, Preen Awareness, what is it? Well, that is a little bit of a loaded question, but obviously it is my job and my duty to help explain this to the general public, so we can all get on board with what's about to happen in our future, which is going to be very exciting. I am so excited. I've been holding on to this information in my solitude, day in, day out, quiet, not speaking about it to anybody except for a few of my family members and friends. And it's almost that time. And yeah, so we could just hop straight in. Preen Theory. What does that define? What all does that entail of? Many things. This is a complicated topic to jump into, so I'm going to be breaking this down piece by piece. So this ties into, well, it has a lot to do with creating connections. Like I spoke on in my previous video, the cells in our body creates connections. The neurons in our brain creates connections. We create connections as people. The stars create connections amongst themselves. And then on a grandiose level, we get into a lot of other hyperdimensional type of phenomenon, which all consciously aware life is continuously evolving to these higher stages of being, of self. Preen specifically are in this specific, I don't want to say box, because we definitely break out of any box that anybody tried to put us in, as well as our humans. We're in this specific categorization in the universe that is, I would say, is pretty strong and capable within their connection making, within their, not only their brain, but their physiological makeup, psychological, biological, genetically. Preens are just a little bit different from your average person, even though the average person exhibits some of these same characteristics, being that they are also consciously aware, also by default, have inherited this aspect of God's nature. Sipping my coffee. I cannot start my day without my coffee, bro. It's I need it. Okay. So, neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life in response to experience, learning, or injury. They forgot traumatic responses as well. Anything that is trend-like in nature, anything that we can, is either going to become a habit, we need to attract this, or we need to propel this away from us because it's dangerous. We was taught about atoms, cells, and all these things in high school. That plays a huge part into how our brain looks and views at reality. I'm not even just talking about physically or visually how we view reality, but just how we interact and think about reality as well. Depending on what we believe reality to be, what we were taught in school, what we were taught by our parents, our presidents, our governments, our surrounding environment, that will pretty much put you and lock you in place into a specific reality. We exist in this third dimension, so we have built our sensories from cavemen all the way up to now to deal with these physical objects and this perception of what we believe reality to be. For an ant, it is different. For a bee, it is different. The very own animals and stuff that we have on this earth, these living, breathing plants and everything, they're in our same dimension, and they are experiencing life completely differently from us. So you can still have neighbors in the same vicinity, and your perception of life and reality is completely different. Preens take this aspect and ramp it all the way up until interesting things start to happen and yield. We'll touch on that later as well. So when discussing all of these different sensory organs and instruments that humans utilize to explore their environment, as well as gain access of knowledge about it, not only that, controlling our environment based off of what we can interact with and what we know about, what the things that we're interacting with. One of the huge factors that plays a part in this is locality. Pretty much what you believe yourself to be and your environment outside of you to be is what it's always going to be, and it'll stay there until you decide to change your perception of reality or what you're interacting in. And emotions play a factor into this. Emotion is more immediate vicinity based, and then you can project out into space. We call this foresight and things like this. All these different sensories that we kind of don't pay that much attention to because we have a 9-to-5, we have children, we have a wife or a husband, we have this brand new car, we have friends that want to go to Vegas and all these type of things. And then you run through life and you realize at an older age, what is the highest potential I could have taken this? How far can I have went with God? We start to ask these questions. And like I mentioned, dealing with locality, depending on your place in this universe and what you believe of your place in the universe and what your potential is what it can be. This is when you start to see drastic changes in not only your life, like I said, manifestation is tied into this. Like I also said, a man is only what he believes in. We give all this higher, extraordinary, manifestive capabilities to things like gods and teachers and all these prophets and stuff like this, but we don't know that we hold the same thing within ourselves. This is what Jesus was trying to tell us without going too far, because some people will take this and use this for bad, like we've seen in the past, and I'm not going to get too deep into that. But Jesus was trying to point this out to us. In my prayers, I do talk to this entity that we call Jesus, and I think I have an accurate depiction of him and the message he was trying to send. Jesus truly represented not just this character that wanted praise and wanted you to pray to him and tell him about all your issues, but no, I looked at this man and I saw me and him in me, and I saw the potentiality. But Preen specifically, they take this aspect extremely literal, and I don't mean literal in our modern societal way of using the term literal. I mean, we take this to heart, blood, sweat, and tears. We take the meaning of oneness, the meaning of becoming God, the meaning of evolution of self and energies, and we take all of this so literal to the point where we start to see these subtle changes in our neurology and biology. I'll touch on that later, once people start to get acquainted with this channel, so they won't be like, what is he talking about? So we'll touch on that in a later time. I am so excited to also share with you guys that I am almost done working on my white paper that I will be posting in some future related events, probably next year or way later. We'll see. I'm pretty much just going on my time right now and taking it slow. My paper that I will be releasing on the website will be titled as Preens. It's pretty much going to touch on all the stuff that I am touching on within my content and stuff like that, but it's going to be a lot more in depth and a lot more detailed, based off the future events that's yet to come. Okay, so for this setting, we will be touching more on memory and networks, inner networks, outer networks, networking in general. I had another recommendation from a professor at LSU. He wanted me to read Memory and Aging Dementia. This helped me a lot with what I am working on, involving, preens and how preens are interrelated with, high functioning autistics, people with schizophrenia, people with multiple personality disorder, and how all of these things interconnect to result in beautiful outcomes, not disorders, but beautiful controlled outcomes that take a lot of soul work, a lot of, neurological, assessments, and stuff like that. I've taken a lot of notes and stuff like that. Let me pitch to you what I have here. Memory processes versus memory structures. So there's a difference between how we process information and the actual structures that is embedded in our psychological networks and in our biome that does the actual work for the process. So memory process more so describes like the actual process of reserving and maintaining memoric like pattern recognition. That's after the structure is already up and running, and the process is just the actual day-to-day or process of observing something, retaining it, and then utilizing it for a desired outcome or equation or rules or a relationship or anything. But the structure of the process is what's such a huge and key detail. The structure is everything, because the structure is more so fundamental. And once you realize that the structure is malleable is when you exhibit Preen-like phenomenon. Because once you're able to understand the structure, identify as the structure, and then become the observer of this structure, and then start molding it to what you're trying to yield into reality, is when you start to see special things exhibited, not only from your mind, but we can go we could go farther and farther from that little seed that's planted here of this memorial structures. These is notes from the book that I kind of digested and applied to how Preen's minds work and stuff like this. I more so use terminology such as like temporal awareness, because we not only exist in this third dimension, but we have minds and observable awareness stretched all the way from God all the way to our cells, atoms, and molecules. We're talking about the same event and events taking place at all spaces and space-time, at all times at once. And once you catch on to these patterns, which autistics, schizophrenics, and people like us are keen to detecting, creating patterns and stuff like that, recognizing patterns. Once you're able to do this, you can pretty much mold different aspects of reality and your perception-based sensors. And you can evolve your sensors to a higher level. We'll touch on that later. Down here, creating schemata that utilizes mnemonics. Mnemonics, I think that's how you pronounce it, which will assist in the overall health and wellness of memory within the mind and brain. So we're pretty much creating systems and basically blueprints to help with the aspects of not only attaining memories and responses to it, but as well, just the overall health in your memory. We can help people with dementia with this usage of this applied physics and applied mechanics. We can help people with dementia. We can help people that are schizophrenics. They don't know what's going on. When you're schizophrenia, I've suffered from this. I will also let my parents and family speak at some point in my content so they can vouch for me. I've suffered from schizophrenia earlier on in my career. I did not know what was going on at first. I didn't know that this was a blessing sent from God that I just had to become aware of and then turn it into what I wanted it to be. Imagine if you're a child, right? And some grown adult comes by and gives you about 20 pounds of Play-Doh, right? You're a 3-year-old child and a grown adult comes and gives you 20 pounds of Play-Doh. And he just smashes it and mushes it and puts it right in front of you and says, "Hey, be careful," closes the door on you. And now you're left with this Play-Doh. You're like, "Man, this stuff, all the colors are mush. Everything's all mush. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to mold this. I don't know what I want this to be." Now that's the first realization and step of becoming a preen. If you exhibit this type of phenomenon, if your brain works like this and is disordered like this, you can utilize this, and mold it into something. This is a blessing, not a curse. Those voices that you hear in your head is not a curse unless you want it to be, unless you were fooled into thinking that it's a curse. I took those voices in my head and did amazing things with those that I'm probably going to touch on in another video, because it's going to start to get a little sci-fi, which is what I'm here to do. I'm here to look like the crazy person so that when all these events happen in the future, the preens will be able to live knowing that they had somebody that was basically crucified in today's terms for how they're saying this and how they're going about it and the words they're using, and not going the typical neurotypical academical way of going about things like you should. No, I'm telling you the facts of what I experienced and what ended up happening because I utilized this in the proper way. We'll touch on that later because that's an extreme topic to talk about so abruptly. I wrote down sensor memory. Okay, so we have is more so held within the subconscious and is fundamental. Sensor memory is just like your basic touch, smell, taste, all these things that are more so like fundamental to get us through the basic necessities in our environment. We learned about this in school back in the caveman days and all this type of stuff, the hunter-gatherers, that type of stuff. Basic stuff to get you around in your source locality of dimensionality. Then we have short-term memory. I wrote habitual sequencing, repetition, building networks, molding the mind. So short-term memory is like, okay, now we're starting to we're starting to accumulate a certain sense of self. We're starting to say, okay, this isn't just smell. I smell something good. I smell something bad. I might be able to take these smells and create a better smell. I might be able to take these bad smells and know how to combat the bad smells, and then make it smell good. And then you see, and this applies to visual, to taste and everything, and then to thoughts. Schizophrenics, you guys have the bad smells, quote unquote, with the voices and in the visual things for the high cases of schizophrenia. The visual, you have the quote unquote bad smell that you can turn and mold into a good smell. And then you can go even further than that when you become tenacious and you become good at this. Then we get into long-term memory. Uses attentional process as well. Trauma that is good or bad that has been instilled into the mind's networks, creating and forming a solid structure. So now we're getting into where we form the Play-Doh into an actual cohesive, coherent, aware structure on temporal branchial space. Shout out to Stephen Wolfram for his cellular automata and how simple rules can turn into this huge structure. I admire his work. You guys should check out Stephen Wolfram. Now we're getting into the actual structure. Utilizing the Play-Doh and turning it into what you want it to be for yourself. You're pretty much at this point editing basically your actual sensors, your actual neural networks. This has been hidden from us for a long time, but Jesus was trying to show us this aspect of God and this aspect of nature that we don't always look in the mirror when we wake up in the morning because we're thinking about other things. I'll touch more on that later about how to utilize that to its fullest extent. Okay, so in this diagram, as you can see, we have pretty much like a representation of all these different forms of the human's consciousness and neural networks. We have here a normal person's brain. They pretty much utilize these connections within their neurology to, take care of work, put food on the table, have families, have children, personal interests and things like that. Extracurriculars and stuff like that. Pretty much all of this is entangled into a normal person's brain. This is pretty much your average human that allows us to do everything that you've seen in society today until you get to here, the spectrals. Spectrals are people that I would say exhibit genius or divine mouthpieces or innovative thinkings. People like Elon Musk, people like Nikola Tesla, people like Terrence Howard, people like Einstein. And then you have the unheard ofs, which are, people that exhibit psychic phenomena. We aren't mentioned as much because if the majority of humans knew that was real, it would cause, I wouldn't even say a outbreak of negative energy or finding out about this phenomenon. I think it would be actually positive, and I think in our near future we're going to see the beauty of what this knowledge brings to life and what people like Jesus and ancient teachers like Thoth was trying to teach back in the gap. They was trying to show the beauty of having all of these connections going off at once or in tandem in desired processes. This may look scatticky and frantic, but these having a lot of connections like this in order. Remember, I kept repeating order, discipline, repetition, so you can control this quote unquote disorder and make it into something very beautiful and creative. People like Einstein and Elon and all these people, high functioning autistics, they were able to utilize these frantically sparks of connections and creatism to to turn it into a beautiful idea and blossom something very beautiful for society. Those are what I call spectrals. They tend to be autistic. They tend to display certain amounts of dyslexia, autism, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, just all types of things, multiple personality disorders and stuff like that. And then here at the bottom is what a preen's mind looks like. This is when you go a huge leap, a huge step forward into this type of phenomenon, and you make it your all and everything, and you go the furthest that you can go with this type of phenomenon of mind and of the utilization of God's inherent creative ability and aspect of and fundamental aspect of nature. This is when you take it the furthest. They say go hard or go home. Either you're going to let this disorder tear you down and make you crazy and put you in a mental hospital all your life, or you're going to flip it on its head and say, hey, I'm going to make this into the most beautiful, the most structured, the most perfect structure that I can within my mind, so that I can utilize the full power, the full capability of what this aspect of nature is. And as you can see, preens have almost hundreds of times more connections, more power, capacity within their minds to be able to not only evolve the environment around them, but as well as within them as well. And then we get into some extraordinary things that I'll touch on later. Like I said, I don't wanna push this out too fast. This is something that needs to be spoon-fed slowly. So I'm attempting to do that, being one of the first and forefront of this phenomenon. Not specifically the knowledge, but just exuding and yielding the results that this knowledge applied can bring to one's life. This is beautiful. And as you can see in the center, we have a symbol of pi. I actually should have edited that into a different symbol, but that's fine. In the center of this brain, we have what seems to be like this placeholder or this center mind unit that is pretty much controlling and is consciously aware of everything around it. It's pretty much controlling all the networks. As you can see, these geometries, these dynamic geometry starts to form into these networks of mind, and it creates a order. It creates a structure. You can see this doesn't just look like a bunch of strings all over the place. No, they form a circle. They start to form a star, and that outside that circle, then a dodecahedron, and then all these fundamental platonic solids that people speak about. Our minds can also form these same structures in a hyperspace, in branchial space. And that gets more into like temporal awareness, and then how we can form our true structure on these hyperdimensional planes of existence. Preens are extremely capable within these realms. We are able to utilize the full functionality of the mind and unlock a lot of beautiful things. We've seen movies about it. We've seen books. We've read books about it. We've heard cases of psychics and what they were able to do, which we don't believe. None of us, except me and a few others, really took those to heart and went the furthest with it. It's a sad thing that people that exhibit this type of aspect and characteristic, we get looked over. Society doesn't hold it dear. They don't really even pay it any mind. But that's going to change. And we're going to do something beautiful for our future and for our collective species. And this will be by choice. This will not be forced like certain governors and governing bodies and tyrants have done us in the future. I'm not forcing this down the public's throats. I am trying to just show this aspect, and you can choose to utilize this if you want or not. Preens and I will be doing specific things in society to help uplift society, not to put it under our boots and become this race of entities that's just just being irresponsible with this knowledge. So I am so excited, and I just want to say I appreciate you guys for tapping in, listening to my content. Content is only going to get more extreme from here. So if you're listening and you're watching, you're going to be able to see and hear some beautiful things. I just have to see how I'm going to set that up and make it digestible for the general public. So yeah, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and thank you so much.